It's time for Rose Garden Radio, live from truly the very center of the universe, Canton, Ohio. Yay! I think you all remember my friend Tyson and assistant on Thursdays, and I'm Lorana. If it's your first time to the show, Rose Garden Radio is dedicated to helping you shift from 3D to 5D, living your dream life from the center of your heart and living more fully. And it's all possible. We're here to tell you it is. So I've come up with what I call my pie theory, and we're going to do a little story today based on the pie, a special Mother's Day story. And first I'm going to draw a pie. Now this could be any kind of pie, apple pie, rhubarb pie, key lime pie, whatever. What kind of pie do you like, Tyson?
Pumpkin pie.
Oh, pumpkin pie with whipped cream. Yeah. Okay, pumpkin pie, whatever kind of pie you want. This is your pie. And let me show you how to make it. So I always put a dot in the center. And that, whoops. This cardboard has seen better days. My chart has seen better days. Anyways, this dot in the center is your spiritual heart. And that's where it all starts. And that is where you have your dream. And dream big, okay? So anyways, once you have your dream, that is the first cut of the pie, okay? And all these dots I'm putting in here in squigglies, you have a pie going right now, whether you know it or not, okay? And that's in your 3D life. And that's the good, the bad, the happy, the unhappy, all of it. That's what's going on right now. But I'm going to show you how to shift that. And it's as easy as pie. All right. So I have a story, and this is about, in honor of Mother's Day, I picked this story because I think it's a really great one for Mother's Day. This is about a single friend of mine named Carol. And Carol, comes in the shop every now and then, and she was from a small town just south of Canton. And anyways, we were talking about her dream. And Carol's a single mom of two young girls, 8 and 6-year-old, beautiful, beautiful girls. And she said, Miss Lorana, what I'd really love is a home. We've never had one. We've always been in some type of situation that wasn't the best. And I want more for myself, and I really want more for my kids. I want them to have a backyard and a safe place to play and this and that. And so that was this Carol's wish in her heart, and that is the first slice. And that's all you need to do is recognize what your dream wish is. That's all you need to do. And let the rest happen. And you'll know or feel, or something inside will let you know what the next steps are when they come up. So let me share Carol's story so you can have an example. So Carol wasn't that happy in the small town she was living in, and decided, oh, thank you, Tyson, decided to come to Canton, to move to Canton, Ohio. So she just woke up one morning and thought, my kids aren't really, it's summer, my little one's not in first grade yet, and this might be a good time to move. I need more opportunity, and I'm moving to Canton. So she packed up and came to Canton, rented a small apartment in the downtown, beautiful downtown area, and she was a waitress, and she got a waitress job at a very nice restaurant, one of the very nice restaurants down here in Canton. And so that was another step. Because actually, as coincidence would have it, she came to visit Miss Lorana, and there were some people here that worked at a restaurant, said, you should apply where I'm working. I know that they need somebody right now. So that's what she did. All right. And so that was good. Carol started to work, and because she had this dream of a home, every chance she could, she squirreled away a little tip money, and she just had this dream, and she didn't know how she was going to accomplish it, because it takes a lot of money for a down payment on a home. But she started to do that. Well, as time went on, Carol's very friendly and a people person, and sometimes she had to it was okay to bring her kids to work if she had to work a night shift, and because she really couldn't afford a babysitter and all that. So she felt like she had support that she normally didn't have. And there was this one customer, Bill, we'll call him Bill Waters. And he would come into the restaurant all the time. He was an older man. And this was a restaurant where a lot of I call them like our founding fathers of Canton right now, that people that are helping Canton, downtown Canton, build and prosper, and building our community, frequented. So she started to get to know all these guys. Even my landlord, Mike King, she got to know, who's very, very wonderful. His whole family, wonderful to rent from. But anyways, she got to know this Bill Waters, and Bill always encouraged her to just, make a plan and work your plan, Carol, he always used to say. And he knew she was saving money, so he'd always throw her an extra 5 or 10 if he could on top of the tip that he knew that she was putting in that house jar. So Carol was saving money. Her kids liked Canton. Her kids loved Canton. There was plenty to do at our downtown plaza and our First Fridays and our wonderful shops and so on and so forth. So everything was going really well. And Mike King, she used to wait on him in the morning every now and then, and pour his coffee and everything. And Mike would encourage her and say, Carol, there's a lot of auctions in Canton. You'd be surprised. There's a lot of older neighborhoods with some of the houses are fixer-uppers, but they're not that hard to fix up. They don't need a lot. And if you start looking on something like Kiko auction site, just start getting a sense of what's out there and what comes on the market. And sometimes there's even houses that the city has to sell for back taxes at an auction. You never know. And you really, you don't need a lot for those houses. And, Carol was hearing Mike, but she also thought, oh, I know Mike, but I'm just tucking away a little bit here or there. And I don't know that I wonder if I'll ever have enough to really buy a house at an auction, and I just don't know. And Mike said, don't get discouraged, Carol. Just keep doing what you're doing. It'll all work out, and hold that house in your heart, and let's see what happens, Well, the good news and the bad news, unfortunately, Bill Waters wasn't that well, and he ended up passing away. And he didn't have any kids or anything, and before he passed, he went to his attorney and he left not a huge sum, but so when Bill passed, he left, let his attorney know that he wanted to leave $20,000 to Carol. That was a huge amount for Carol. That was a game changer. So that really helped. And all of a sudden, Carol had at least a base to start from. So she saved and she's, scrimped, and a lot of these her regular customers, when they could, would throw her an extra $5, and they'd say, Carol, this is for your house fund, nothing else. And she'd take it home and she'd put it in that jar or take it to that, that special account. And she did that and did that and did that. And she looked on Kiko auction houses, and she just started to, really visualize things. So she started to look, and then she thought, well, what would your dream house be like? One of her customers asked her, and she said, well, it would have a bedroom for each of my girls and one for me, and a small yard, and we could be close to downtown, and I love Canton City, and so on and so forth. So she started to really visualize what she would desire for this house, even to the stove. She says, I really love to cook, but I want a gas stove. I don't really care about anything else, but I need that gas stove. Okay. And then Mike started to encourage her to go to auctions. He said, I know you're off Mondays and Tuesdays, and I usually, if I invest in apartment buildings and things. I've done it for years downtown, and I just think you should. Anyways, I think you should go to some of these auctions, and you will just get your, a sense for what's going on. And so she started to do that, about twice a month on a Monday. If something came up, she was going just to get a feel. She never bid. She never had enough money to do anything, but she went. Then one month, a really sweet house came on the market, came up for auction, and it needed a little work, but it was in a historic neighborhood in downtown Canton, and it was what they call an absolute auction. That means no matter what, this house is going to sell. There's no, if somebody offers $5 or something and no one else bids, it's going to sell for $5. That's what absolute auction means. And anyway, so Mike had seen that, and he said, there's this absolute auction coming up. You might want to take a look at that. And Carol's like, oh, Mike, I'm getting so tired. I'm almost getting depressed going to these auctions, knowing that I can't get anything. It's just so hard. And there's always the same guys there, the contractors. But Mike's like, yeah, but you know all these guys too now. And most of them come to this cafe, and they're your friends. I think you should really go for this one. I think you should just show up. So Carol said, okay, Mike, I will. I'll be there. So she went. It was just about half hour before the auction. Everybody gets to walk through, and there was 3 bedrooms, just like she wanted. And one of them even had a little balcony like her youngest daughter wanted off her bedroom. And there was a gas stove and a little fenced-in backyard and a little front yard. And all of a sudden, it was time to bid. And Kiko set off the auction. Oh, can somebody pull out a starting bid? And You know, Carol knew she only had about $32,000. She had gotten the 20, and over about a year, she collected about $12,000 with the help of her new friends to her house fund. And it doesn't sound like a lot, but the beauty of this story is when that auction started, I forget what Kiko was there, but one of the Kikos says, "Who'd like to start off the bid? Young lady, why don't you start off the bid?" He pointed to Carol, and Carol's like, "Oh my God, $32,000. She realized she wasn't gonna, it was only gonna go up from there. Okay, $32,000 is the starting bid. Do I have another offer? Do I have another offer? Another offer? Another offer? But all of a sudden, Mike didn't raise his hand. He just stood there with a smile on his face and his arms crossed. A friend of Bill Waters was there. He didn't raise his hand. All the usual suspects just stood there with this beautiful grin on their face. And the auctioneer was a bit miffed. He's like, "Going once? Come on, come on. Going twice? Come on, anybody. Do I hear 35, 35, 35, 35? Sold for $32,000 to this beautiful woman and her 2 children that were there by her side. Yay! The community stepped forward. They knew the money that she had. And I'm going to cry, but no one would bid against her. And Carol got that house. And she's now a homeowner in Canton City and proud of it. So miracles can happen. And on this Mother's Day, I just wanted to share this really beautiful story with all of you. So tune in, access your dream, and use the pie theory to make it happen. So I hope all of you are having a wonderful day. It turned out to be a nice one for Mother's Day. And I hope we'll see you next time. And until then, bye.
Bye.